Most black voters, by the way, have no idea about the racist history of the Democratic Party. I didn't know when I was in high school that Democrats founded the Klan. I didn't know when I was in high school that Democrats voted against the 13th Amendment that freed the slaves, the 14th Amendment that gave slaves citizenship, the 15th Amendment that, at least on paper, gave slaves the right to vote. Democrats voted against all of that stuff. I didn't know when I was in high school that more Republicans as a percentage of the party voted for the Civil Rights Act of 1964 than did Democrats. I didn't know that. I didn't know that Everett Dirksen, a Republican in Illinois, got an award from the NAACP for how he helped to shepherd the Civil Rights Bill through Congress. I didn't know that Al Gore's father participated in what was then the longest filibuster to prevent the bill from ever becoming on the floor. I also bought into that notion that, okay, Democrats used to be racist, but then Republicans switched places with them in the 60s. I bought into that until I found out that of all the Democrats that voted against the Civil Rights Act in the House, of all the Democrats who voted against the Civil Rights Act in the Senate, only 2 switched to the Republican Party, one of whom was Strom Thurmond. George Wallace, who stood in front of the school door as a Democratic governor saying segregation now, segregation tomorrow, segregation forever, he died a Democrat. Robert Byrd, who was a Kliegel, that means a recruiter for the Klan, he died a Democrat at 100 years old in the Senate. Most of these guys never switch parties. It is a lie. The reason the South became more and more Republican is because the Democratic Party became more and more left-wing, became anti-Vietnam, anti-war, pro-abortion, and the South became increasingly uncomfortable with their allegiance to the Democratic Party, especially since Jim Crow had fallen. If Jim Crow has fallen, why are we in bed with these Democrats? What's the point? And so the South became more and more Republican for a reason that had nothing to do with racism. But that was the line that was fed by so many people, and so many blacks to this day believe that.
All right, so these Democrats were shocked when they found out that it was actually the Democrat Party that didn't want blacks to vote.
Do you know what Juneteenth is?
It was the day that we actually celebrated getting freedom for African Americans.
A president sent the army in to enforce the 13th Amendment to make sure that all, like you said, people know that they are free, but they had to send the army to make sure that they know what's going on into Texas. What was the president's name, and what political party was he part of?
I'm going to say Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah. And was he Republican, Democrat?
I feel like he was Democrat, but I want to say maybe he was Republican. No, I'm going to go with Democrat.
The historic 13th Amendment was passed in Congress, and then it was vetoed by a certain president. Do you know what was the president's name and what party he was affiliated with?
Republican.
A year after Juneteenth, Congress decided to pass the very first Civil Rights Act. It allowed, first of all, it gave full citizenship and rights to freed slaves. What party completely voted against it? Not a single person voted for it. Which party were they affiliated with? Republican, Democrat, other? Anybody know?
I want to say Republican.
Abraham Lincoln was a Republican president. So he's the one that sent the army because Southern Democrats in Texas wanted to continue to have slavery. So Abraham Lincoln said, no, we have a federal law now. We're going to enforce that. His vice president that stepped in and vetoed the Civil Rights Act was a Democrat. His name was Andrew Jackson. Yeah. And here's the main thing. When they allowed black people to finally run for office a year after Juneteenth, the first 20 people who were black people to be members of Congress were all Republican members. The Democrats refused to allow black people to vote and to be, obviously, candidates for office.
So you can watch that clip right there and really see these minds being blown. And when you finally just realize the facts behind all of the propaganda and all of the stuff, you realize how much of true American history is just being hidden from people. God knows they're not teaching it in the schools. They'd rather teach BLM and 500 genders and, I don't know, have drag queens like, teach kids shapes or something like that. They're certainly not being taught history. And then you understand why they don't want to teach this history, because Democrats want to run the propaganda that Republicans are racist when in fact they're the ones with the history.
So you're telling me for 4 years you supported Joe Biden even though in 1994 he heralded a crime bill that caused a mass incarceration of black people? Oh, you didn't know that one, did you? Go look that one up.
So I decided to look it up again for now the 20th time, and imagine the shock when I realized how disingenuous you're being. Because what we're not going to do is sit here and pretend like a large portion of black people did not initially support Biden's crime bill to tackle specific issues happening within our community. And then later on, it was universally acknowledged by the entire black community to have backfired, no different from New York's own stop and frisk law. And then as of October 2020, Joe Biden himself expressed regret for heralding that very 1994 violent crime bill, because he also recognized the negative effects. It was literally part of his motivation to fund a yearly $16 to $17 billion to HBCUs. Quick side note, that's how accountability works. But those two little details you just so happen to leave out. And let's be very clear about something. The Democratic Party absolutely has a history worth question and criticism. That being said, you are absolutely using the same old methods and talking points that Republicans use only towards black people to discourage them from voting Democrat or not vote at all. And this is not the first video of yours to show up on my For You page where you're just loud and wrong, or I should say loud and disingenuous. Mind you, I know you have some form of bias because I have yet to see you say jack shit about Republicans currently having full power in all three branches of government, comfortably violating people's amendment rights, and more importantly, actively wanting to deploy the National Guard in predominantly black cities like Baltimore, but you just sat here and tried to steer all that attention away by reminding black folks of Biden's crime bill? Got it.
I really don't understand black men that support the Democratic Party. Like, I understand women, because they all right with gay, with gay people, with gay dudes, they have their gay best friend, that they love. I understand black women, but I don't understand straight, masculine men. Like, they literally, I just posted a video on my Instagram of Democrat Tim Walz. Literally, they have transgender dolls that they're now using in schools. Transgender dolls to indoctrinate your kids in the schools. I don't understand a black man, how they can support that, and especially if they got sons. I don't understand. I don't care. There's enough racism in the world for me to support a party that would tell my son should be a girl at 4, and they giving these dolls out in like 4th grade. Like kindergarten. Transgender dolls in Minnesota. The Democrats are. I don't understand straight black men that support the Democratic Party. I just don't understand it. Like, this party has become so feminized and so emasculating to men. That's why they keep running women candidates. They have become, women run the whole party, white liberal women. I don't understand black men. I just don't understand how you can be so dumb, how you can be so brainwashed, how you can allow these people to emasculate you so much that I know your mom told you and your grandma that the Democrat was your best friend, but I don't understand the black men to do. I just don't. Maybe 20 years ago I could understand voting Democrat. Even under Obama I could tell. He liked basketball, he liked sports. But this new Kamala party, this new AOC party, I don't understand it. I don't understand what benefit it has to you. They're replacing you with illegal immigrants. They're taking all the jobs for black men. I just don't understand it. I really don't. I'll never understand it. I don't. But we're the coons. We're the crazy ones. We're the crazy ones. We don't want biological men in our daughters' sports. I have 3 daughters. I don't want biological men in my daughter. That is a big issue for me. It's not for you. You want biological men with private parts going into your daughter's bathrooms? That's insane to me.
One thing I know for a fact, regardless how racist these motherfucking people want to be, regardless of what they want to try to call me, this and that, hey, at least we got culture. At least we got our own culture. Like, literally, like, undeniable what is our culture. Like, fucking the racist white people still claiming fucking Europe and fucking cultures that ain't had nothing to do with their dumbasses for the last 200 to 300 years. Like, hey, that's just funny as fuck. I thought, and then it's like you can tell it's really getting to them. Like, it's really like destroying a lot of their mentalities. Like, having no self-identification, no culture to really fall behind, and like the only culture they do got is like child molestation and incest.
Brought these people out, they paid these women to come out and speak. Did you feel disrespected?
Absolutely.
You felt disrespected?
Yeah, absolutely.
This is... Go ahead.
I felt disrespected in the numerous ways, but okay. I'll only tell you two. I felt one, disrespected that we have come so far to now this is how you are trying to get our vote.
Yes.
I feel also the second reason why I feel disrespected is because this is, to me, is racist. You mean to tell me, at least people of our skin color, black people, you mean to tell me the only thing that to get our attention or to get us someone to vote for y'all is by using the rappers and stuff that we listen to, and they're not even, like, don't get me wrong, Meg is good, right. Glow is good, they all have talent, however, they have a certain genre that they go for, right. And that's not necessarily a good image on young kids or young women that's coming up. So you mean to tell me, like, you used them as a way to get our attention, and that's the only people you can use? There are other great artists out there who rap about, like, making it and just kind of making it big and, like, flourishing and healing and all of that. We could have had those type of people come up, but you went and chose someone who has kind of degraded us in a way.
Yeah. Yeah. So do you think they look at, like, black women and, like, you know, they're easy to manipulate? Yes. These stripper rappers up here.
Yep.
And you know, they'll come out and vote if I get the stripper rappers to come out.
Yeah.
You know.
You're getting your wish. Wonderful, right? Wonderful. Zeke Arkham, gotcha 6. Bye.
Have you ever wondered why many political arguments start with history? Every election season, people are told who fought for civil rights, who stood for equality, and which party has always represented their interests. But what happens when people begin asking questions about the parts of history they feel they were never taught? That is exactly why this conversation is gaining so much attention. Today, we are looking at why more black voters are revisiting American political history, questioning long-held beliefs, and asking whether there is more to the story than they originally learned.
When you're black, you're never really lonely because there will always be a white person all up in your business.
I am fully convinced the people who make these videos, really, they leave their phone out, they record, and they just wait. No one's bothering them. No one's walking by. It could be like 1, 2, 5 minutes before someone actually looks at them and pays attention to them, and then they hop on this. I'm convinced anyone using this audio, that's what they're doing. Because if you look at it, no one is paying attention to them really. They're just looking to see, like, oh, hey, this person's recording. Why are they recording? And then they go on about their business. They might glance over again like, hey, is this person still recording? Because it is kind of creepy in a public setting. But no one's really paying them any mind. Again, it's black folks stirring up their own oppression, stirring up their own perceived racism, stirring up their own anger, stirring up their own controversy. But no one is falling for it. As a matter of fact, this is where all the fatigue sets in. This is where people start getting really tired. This is when real anti-black behavior starts happening. Because now it's just, okay, you want to provoke me? You want to pick a fight? I'm going to fight you. That's where it comes from. And people like me are getting sick of it. People, like other races, white folks, everybody else are getting sick of it. Because it's the constant self-victimization and it's the constant I'm so oppressed. Look at me. Look at everybody who's oppressing me. Look at everybody. Look what's wrong with the rest of the world that's doing this to me. And then when they actually do it, you get mad. You manifested this. You wanted this to happen.
I mean that you're a weak man, right?
I'm stronger than you, but
you think and act like a woman. You think you act like a man?
Yeah.
Well, why are you weak?
I'm not weak.
You're just like your mother.
That's good. My mother's a great person.
You just like her?
Yeah.
Beta! Women are not going to like you being like that. And so you say you're a liberal, which means you're beta male. And what is a beta male?
To me?
Uh-huh.
Well, to me, beta male is a term made up by people who like toxic masculinity.
And what is toxic masculinity?
It's a version of masculinity where you define the male identity in something that's aggressive and harmful to other people.
But what's wrong with being aggressive as a man?
Well, it's harmful to other people.
Alpha males don't use aggression because they're real men and they don't need to use that. It's natural for them to be that way. A beta male have to use aggression. So you say
what is an alpha male to you?
A real man, not a liberal, not a beta.
History shapes the way people vote. Many Americans grow up with simplified versions of major historical events. Because schools can only cover so much in a limited amount of time. As adults, people often discover additional perspectives through books and documentaries, public records, speeches, and debates. That doesn't necessarily mean everything they have learned before was wrong. It means they are comparing different sources and asking new questions. For many voters, understanding history isn't about defending one political party over another. It is about making informed decisions based on facts, evidence, and context. One of the biggest discussions today is whether Americans focus too much on party names instead of policies and results. Political parties have changed over time, coalitions shift, priorities evolve, and leadership changes across generations. Because of that, many people argue that every voter, regardless of race or background, should evaluate current policies, economic conditions, education, healthcare, public safety, and job opportunities instead of relying only on historical party loyalty. That's becoming a major conversation among voters across the country. Another topic receiving attention is how political campaigns communicate with voters. Some people believe political parties spend too much time using celebrities, influencers, or cultural messaging instead of addressing issues like inflation, affordable housing, education, small business growth, crime, and economic opportunity. Others disagree and believe cultural outreach help connect with communities regardless of where someone stands politically. Many voters are asking for more substance and fewer campaign slogans. Perhaps the biggest takeaway from this discussion is the importance of independent thinking. Most Americans are choosing to search historical documents, compare viewpoints, and hear arguments from multiple perspectives before making political decisions. Healthy debate doesn't require everyone to reach the same conclusion. Instead, it encourages people to ask questions, verify information, and think critically rather than simply accepting what they hear from the social media or even political advertisement. Democracy works best when citizens stay informed and actively engage with different viewpoints. So whether someone agrees, whether someone votes Democrat, Republican, Independent, or chooses to not vote at all, one thing is becoming increasingly clear. Many Americans want a deeper understanding of history and how it connects to today's political landscape. The conversation isn't just about the past. It is about the historical events, influence present-day decisions, and economic opportunities, education, public policy, and the future of the country. At the end of the day, every voter has the responsibility to research, ask questions, and make informed decisions based on incredible information and their own values. What do you guys think? Do you believe Americans know enough about the history of the major political parties, or should schools and public discussions provide more historical context from multiple perspectives? Share your thoughts in the comment section below, and kindly remember to keep it respectful. If you want more breakdowns like this, hit the subscribe button and join our family. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.